Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Cassie. Today we're going to be talking about Arctic Awakening. This is a new game that just released today on Steam, Xbox Series X and S, and PlayStation 5. When I was scrolling through X probably a couple months ago, I saw this game being advertised and they said it was heavily inspired by Firewatch. I'm a big Firewatch fan. It's probably like the only walking simulator that I truly like. A lot of them I just find really boring, and yeah, I don't vibe with them usually. But Firewatch was an exception, and maybe it's because of the environment and the atmosphere um, that I really liked Firewatch a lot. So I had to jump into this, and I got the key several days ago, and I beat it yesterday. So I figured I'd go ahead and talk about it. Um, Now, I did play the demo, and I wasn't so sure on it. Like, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it or not because it did have some issues. But getting into the game, I saw those issues had actually been improved and smoothed out. So, yeah, that was a strong start. And basically, you start out as you play as this guy named Kai, and you're flying over the Alaskan wilderness with your co-pilot and Alfie, who's kind of like a therapy robot that was court ordered because you have some issues with your family and whatever. So, um, your co-pilot jumps out of the plane because the plane's crashing down. And then you're stuck with Alfie, the robot, and your plane crashes out in the wilderness, and you're just kind of left to fend for yourself and survive and try to find your co-pilot and try to find help, and hope that you can get rescued. So it has a lot of vibes to Firewatch for sure. Like, it's just the visuals are kind of similar in a way. Just, you're out in the Alaskan wilderness, so it's like snow instead of like a forest. But um, you step out of the plane and the plane's a wreck, obviously, so you can't fly out anywhere, and you have to like gather resources, try to figure out what exactly happened with the plane, and see if you can find your co-pilot Donovan. So, it does have like some very light survival elements. In some parts, it kind of reminds me of The Long Dark a little bit, but just obviously not like heavy survival like that. You do have to replenish your hunger. So there's an abundance of like bags of chips and uh, like cans of food and all sorts of stuff just kind of laying around that you can find, and then left by other people that you come across. Well, you come across their like camps and stuff, but there's no people out there. Um, and you pretty much have an unlimited inventory for your backpack. So I picked up literally everything that I came across. And even though I didn't necessarily need it. And then you also have to replenish your stress levels, or kind of like your calmness, your mindfulness, by sitting by these cairns. And then you have to kind of like breathe in, breathe out. It's kind of like this circle. You have to hit A when it gets within the circle range, to like breathe in, breathe out, and then you replenish your mindfulness and your stress levels by doing that. But they're not always, you know, where you are, so you have to, look out for them, whatever. But it's pretty linear. I think there are branching paths. I think there's different endings and stuff. So it's kind of like a choose your own adventure sort of thing. You're walking through the wilderness. You've got like all these, you'll have like tasks and stuff that you have to do, but it's mostly like, you've got to go this way. We're going to go like try and find Donovan. It's split off into 5 different chapters, which each end of the chapter ends like an episode because it always runs credits. at the end, which I don't know why. They all released at the same time, so I'm not really sure why they did it that way. That's kind of weird. Um, and then you also have to, I mean, you have like different conversations and stuff, like, you know, like RPG elements, I guess, very light. Um, Interacting with Alfie, because he'll talk to you. Kai's kind of a dick, honestly. He's not a very good character. He's very arrogant and condescending in the way that he talks. But I think as it progresses, he does get a little bit better. He does have some character growth, but sometimes it kind of goes backwards. I really did like the first three chapters a lot. I thought it was really well done. There's like some climbing elements, like sometimes you'll have to climb. Sometimes you'll need tools, but very rarely. Like you can pick up most tools that are around and put them in your backpack, but there's no use for them. And I found that kind of weird. Um, but I do really like the atmosphere, and the music is really really good. It's probably one of the top things of this game overall. I think is like the soundtrack itself. The characters, um, I don't know. Some of the voice acting is really good, and some of it is kind of questionable. And I really, really like Alfie. I think as a character, I think he was my favorite. Um, but yeah, it's basically you're walking around and trying to get to these checkpoints and stuff. There's very light puzzle elements, but not very much of it. Um, there's not a lot of sense of direction. That was one of my biggest problems with this game, is that um, sometimes you're not really sure where or what you're supposed to go to, and there's no indicators. You have your backpack with your inventory, but there's like no description on anything. You also just, I don't know. It's really hard to figure out like what you're supposed to do sometimes, and sometimes there's still a lot of glitches. And I know they're aware of it. They've been working on it. They kind of like sent that out when they sent us the codes. So hopefully these things will get smoothed out. The glitches are annoying. I didn't find them as prominent in the first three chapters. There's 5 chapters total. Um, but when they would happen, sometimes I would have to reload my checkpoint, which, you know, was nice that I was able to do that. But it was also frustrating because I had to like start over the entire thing again. And sometimes it's really slow. Um, and you know, just conversations and stuff you have to listen to over and over again. There's not like skip forward or anything. So that was kind of a bummer. But I think overall, considering that this game is actually like 10 hours long, which is very long for a walking sim, most of them tend to be like 3 hours average, I think. I I actually didn't really feel at any time except for like the last chapter that I was ready for the game to be done. I was playing it and I was enjoying my time despite the glitches, and I really liked the visuals. I thought it was pretty to just kind of like look out into, um you could see like the mountains and the trees in the background and everything, and I thought it was really pretty. um, and despite not liking Kai, like I did really like Alfie. Donovan was pretty interesting. You kind of, so since he's lost, you can still talk to him like on your smartwatch that you have. You communicate that way, which like with Firewatch you communicated with your walkie-talkie. So same sort of thing. Um, I do wish that like some of the survival elements were a little bit more, and I know it's just like a walking sim, and you know Firewatch didn't really have anything either, but I don't know. I felt like maybe the food and drinks could have been separated. So like thirst and hunger, or um, also like the animations of you like eating or drinking were kind of odd. Like if you ate some ramen, like you'd have a box of ramen, it would just show you eating the box of the ramen, which I know is just kind of like a little thing, but it just kind of seemed funny to me. Um, but yeah, like I mostly enjoyed this game, but the last chapter I got so frustrated with, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but there were things that you had to find to progress, and it wasn't very clear what I was supposed to do or where these items were, and it was just there were no hints or anything that would pop up if you couldn't figure it out. And and it didn't actually end up being stuff that would have been obvious otherwise, I don't think. And I feel like some of it was glitches. Like I had to like restart over again to get it to work. The last chapter was definitely the worst for me. So it brought it down a lot. But I think that being said, I did really enjoy the first three chapters, and I think that if you are a Firewatch fan, you definitely should look into this game. But just go in knowing that it does have some performance issues, but I know that they are working on those. So definitely keep that in mind. I know that also they did say that the console versions are behind in production, so they may have more issues than the Steam version, which is what I played, did. So yeah, I would definitely suggest this. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. I will have a written review that's like a little more detailed and less, me like rambling because I lose focus all the time. So it's sometimes it's hard to like explain things on video. But yeah, I definitely recommend this. And yeah, look out for my written review on Minimap. I'll post it in the description below once it gets posted, but it probably won't be until next week sometime because I've got to write it still. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.